Thank you for joining me for this month's Curators Tour. I'm Britt Mitchell, Curator of Exhibitions, and today we will be exploring Good Vibrations, the Prints of Victor Vasarely. Just 1 year before the Beach Boys scored a hit with their 1966 song Good Vibrations, Victor Vasarely was generating his own good vibrations in the groundbreaking op art, short for optical art, exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art, The Responsive Eye. As a result of the exhibition, Vasarely became widely celebrated, and he experienced enormous success as a printmaker. Because prints are more affordable and widely more available than paintings, Vasarely saw the medium as a vehicle for the democratization of art. Prints were also key to his vision of integrating his visual vocabulary into all aspects of living. This aligned Vasarely with the early modern abstract artist who sought a universal visual language that could bring order to a chaotic world. In 1955, Vasarely published his Yellow Manifesto, which emphasized the importance of the viewer in activating the illusion of movement in a static composition. In 1959, Vasarely obtained a patent for what he termed plastic unity, which took the form of a plastic alphabet, a modular system of combining two contrasting geometric forms and variable colors that could yield infinite compositional possibilities. Those possibilities are in full bloom in this exhibition through the range of dynamic variations that the artist produced over 25 years. As you view each work, experience the optical sensations that Vasarely considered to be pathways to a more joyful life and towards a better world. The first two pieces we will be looking at today are on the introductory wall titled Raura and Tritum. Looking at Raura, Vasarely often repeated the same composition from different perspectives. While the overall imagery in the print relates to the Vega series, in that modules expand and contract in scale to give the illusion of sections of a sphere, the same configuration is also seen in two earlier paintings. It has been flipped from one version and rotated in the other. Vasarely's approach to examining a pictorial image from different orientations foreshadowed a now common practice when working with computer programs such as Adobe Photoshop. On the left, we have Tritum. The overall structure created here is one of the more volumetric images in Vasarely's oeuvre. Using his plastic alphabet, Vasarely created the illusion of a three-dimensional structure in which the individual units resemble bricks or building blocks that are joined at the center at different angles. The artist had, in fact, employed the same circle on the surface of a cube motif for sculptural motifs such as Tritum HH in 1972, as well as for the architectural designs of the Vasarely Foundation, which opened in 1976. Having studied in 1929 at the Mhuli School, also known as the Hungarian Bauhaus, Vasarely shared the utopian ideals of the German Bauhaus and Dutch De Stijl groups, which believed that geometric abstraction, if applied to architecture, utilitarian objects, graphic design, and all other aspects of our living environment, could lead to a harmonious and balanced world. In Vasarely's view, integrating interactions of colorful shapes into our daily lives could make us feel more joyful. We will now explore pieces that relate to Vasarely's Vega series, similarly to the Raura seriograph. These pieces are titled Vega Pauk, Die Vat, and Sinlag. In the top half of Vega Pauk, a vertical diptych, Vasarely presents the illusion that a matrix of dots, essentially circles within squares, has inflated like a balloon. Vasarely had experimented with a similar configuration in his figurative painting Harlequin in 1936, and returned to create new variants in the mid-1950s in works such as Vega, a black and white painting featuring a checkerboard pattern, sections of which are magnified. The optical vibrations in the latter reminded Vasarely of the pulses of light from stars in the galaxies that were purported to be transmitting mysterious signals. Thus, he named the work after one of the brightest stars in the universe, known as Vega. According to the artists, the Vegas have something monstrous, disquieting about them. They seem to breathe heavily, like the pulsars that emerged from the huge explosion over 15 billion years ago. The term Pauk, which refers to the lower section, appropriately translates as boom or bang in a number of European languages. Looking to dive at, Vasarely's Vega series employs two basic matrices, one composed of circles and the other of squares. In this related print, Vasarely systematically alternated between the two in constructing a configuration that resembles the format for a game of tic-tac-toe. Using different colors, he also set up symmetrical correspondences between the corner squares as well as between the modules sandwiched in the middle of them. All of this revolves around the center square, which is the only one printed in the color yellow. When we look to the four various synlag pieces which hang on the back of the introductory wall, we can see that they visually relate to the Vega configurations, seemingly melding the two matrices in Vasarely's original painting Vega from 1956. This, however, differs in that this seriograph is on cast paper, which gives the piece dimension. For instance, one of the synlag pieces features green ovoid shapes on a blue background. However, the raised sides of each shape are colored red, showing us how Vasarely played with the color in an optical field. Grids are an important motif in Vasarely's work. We can see this in many of his prints and paintings, such as the Bella Neg seriograph. The composition of this print is based on Vasarely's painting Bella FF, made just 1 year after the artist patented his plastic alphabet, which consists of modules known as plastic units. In the painting, Vasarely employs a minimum of elements, with all the modules consisting simply of a circle within a square. At the time, he was nearing the end of his black and white period and added only one color, blue, to the mix. By contrast, this seriograph, which was printed 15 years later, employs 5 richly saturated colors, in addition to black. Vasarely may as well have been influenced by the color field painter Ellsworth Kelly, who painted simple geometric shapes rendered in pure, unmodeled color. In Vasarely's piece titled Zilver, we can see the continuation of the grid motif. However, this is particular as we can see that he employed what is called the Hermann grid illusion. Found by Ludemar Hermann in 1970, the illusion appears when using a black and white grid where gray ghost-like circles appear at the joints of the grid. However, when looking directly at where the gray circles appear, nothing is actually there, simply white lines and black squares. Using this grid illusion mixed with his circle and square modules, he successfully creates multiple optical illusions for the viewer to enjoy. Differing in visual composition and pulling away from Vasarely's optical illusions is Kurvilla-Howland B1, which allows the viewer to explore Vasarely's approach to form in a different way. The composition of this print is based on Vasarely's painting Belle Isle GP, which the artist began a few years after the summer sojourn on the island of Belle Isle, located along the south coast of Brittany in western France. In the later version, the configuration of overlapping ellipses has been rotated 90 degrees, while the areas along the edges have been reworked. As Vasarely studied the Belle Isle environment, he began to reflect upon the inherent geometric structures that underlie the natural world. According to the artist, quote, "I observed the forms Belle Isle presented to me, all of which could be traced back to ellipses and ovoids, and in that process discovered a very intimate relationship between apparently quite different things. In the morning, the clouds took on the form of pebbles, and a few meters from the beach, where the sea was already deep, the surface breaking against the rocks resembled huge seashells. Even the setting sun was distorted and became elliptical." During Vasarely's Belle Isle period, usually dated from 1947 to 1958, he created some assemblages and numerous paintings in which he built a variety of compositions out of elliptical shapes. We hope that you enjoyed our virtual curator's tour of Good Vibrations, the prints of Victor Vasarely. If you wish to see these optical illusions in person, this exhibition will be up until February 1st, 2026.